Welcome to Exploring the Mystical Side of Life with your host, Michelle Aubin and Linda Lang.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the podcast today. This is Michelle Aubin and my co-host, Linda Lang. Hi, Linda.
Hi, Michelle. Happy to be here.
Happy to be here, too. So we have something special for the listeners today.
Yes, we have a fantastic conversation that we've pulled out of our archives that we thought you would enjoy. So we're happy to share it with you. Have a listen. Tune in today, Michelle, and just feel the energy that you're feeling. Can you feel a sense of peace? That's where I am today, anyways.
Yes, and I mean, I don't know if what you're feeling is because of the way we did this episode. I think there's something to be said for not presenting ourselves formally.
Well, there's conditioning and masks and roles
Yeah,
and not self that are included in that. And you know what? It feels actually really good just to have an authentic conversation with you
yes.
and hope our listeners find some value or some wisdom or something to think about.
It's important and authentic right now. It's been on my mind every day. How could it not be? So that's authentic. Yeah.
It's one thing to have a spiritual mindset and another thing to bring that spirituality into your everyday life.
Yeah. I've come across not a lot, a few people in different Facebook groups who have commented on these like spiritual leaders who have been avoiding what's happening here and how some people have like unsubscribed from their lists, things like that, or even business leaders who are doing like, these like business gurus. So I'm not really sure I'm in that same place because I don't think everyone has to take that on as part of their teaching. But I do think when you're talking about spirituality and consciousness, what you and I were talking about today was shadow, the destruction of forests. How do you see shadow and still keep an open heart is really a spiritual question.
There is so much emotion to that question. My eyes are tearing up and I have all these goosebumps, and I think it's really pivotal for people to be able to love all aspects of themselves and not pretend that they don't have feelings of, envy
Yeah.
or greed or anger or whatever. And that, once they have that self-awareness and they can really accept themselves and be who they are and make that being okay, then they automatically stop judging themselves and other people. It's kind of like what comes first, the chicken or the egg?
Mm,
It's kind of they're married, they do this dance. There's a lot of emotion to that. So I'm grateful to actually do that kind of work and have more self awareness and uncover things about me that are like, oh, and then have more choice because I don't have to respond the old ways.
yeah.
It's good to sit with your shadow a little bit and be really truthful with yourself. It might not always be comfortable. It's a worthwhile, I want to say task, but it's not really a task. It's a worthwhile
Practice.
practice. Is good. Yeah, for sure.
To me, that translates into the practice of when we see people acting in ways we don't approve of or we don't prefer, we might be afraid of. and how to do that same practice. I think there's a place for doing it internally, and I think there's a place for doing it in our relationships. There's this idea that, oh, whenever you're upset in a relationship with someone, there's really something in you that they triggered, some part of you that you don't accept, that they remind you of.
It's really all about you.
Right.
It is really interesting, right? That's actually ancient teachings, right? That the world reflects what you have inside of yourself. And if that is so, we really all could benefit from doing some inner work so we can kind of clean up the world as it is being expressed.
So what that really would mean is we're cleaning up our perception of the world. We're not cleaning up the world, we're cleaning up how we perceive it.
Exactly. That's a really good point. I'm so glad you made that. And myself, as a healer and transformation specialist, yourself as well, we really understand that when you change your perspective of something, the whole thing shifts. You can take something that was really, really difficult and you can turn that into a stepping stone and grow from it, evolve, and find wisdom, inspire other people, go on to do great things, or you can let that awful experience actually, essentially you're giving it your life. A little change of perspective. Well, it may not seem so little when you're going through it, but it can be. I've had cancer, and it was actually one of the greatest experiences of my life because of the gifts that I had from it. So that's kind of one of the ways I've reframed it for myself. Do I want to do it again? Do I wish it on anyone else? No, I wish you all have incredible spiritual growth and change in a much easier and gentler way, which is one of the reasons I do the work I do. Yeah, it's just incredible how you can shift. Fear is a really good example of that. When you have a phobia of something or a really deep fear, and you can switch that in your brain, and then all of a sudden it becomes a non issue.
And then you wonder why you ever had the fear to begin with.
Yeah.
Well, this idea just makes me think of Course in Miracles. That is what they talk about, is basically learning to not have judgment. That's the teaching, is that we don't always have all the information.
Never,
Right? That's my understanding of A Course in Miracles, is we don't have all the information, and so we really are not equipped to make useful judgments. And then when we stop judging, that's when miracles happen. Like, that's really the book in a nutshell, right? This like thick, basically that's what it is. Is that your understanding of it?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, there's only one daily course that I really kind of remember off the top of my head, and I actually use it quite a bit. The teaching is, if I defend myself, I am attacked.
Yes. Oh,
And
that's great.
that
Yeah.
really speaks to this whole idea of your perception and how your perception creates your world.
Yes.
And your experience, your thoughts then trigger emotions, and your emotions trigger chemical reactions inside your body. You become stressed or fight or flight or whatever response, and then that pulls up unconscious patterns and memories. You respond from all these old places.
Well, if we think we have anything to defend, that's coming from a fear-based idea of how the world works, because it's based in lack. If we feel that there's a never-ending flow of what we need, whether it's love, trust, resources that will show up for us at the right time, there's nothing to defend.
Fundamentally, if we need to defend ourselves, then fundamentally there's something wrong with us, that there's a insecurity that is shown to us through that need to defend that we're okay, or that our group is okay, or it can be personal, or it can be collective as well.
Yeah, if someone calls you a name that's insulting, defending yourself could be like, why are you saying that? Or it could be, oh, you're calling me that name. Let's talk about that.
What does that mean to you?
Or you're saying this thing about my character. Isn't that interesting? It may or may not be true.
In this fantastic world that we live in these days, and in our technological age, how easy is it to receive an email or see a Facebook post or some other social media post and really get triggered by something that isn't necessarily there, but it's there
Probably.
inside of us.
Right. Well, that's probably 3/4 of what social media is for people. It's so interesting to watch. I've had friends engage a lot in the past few months on social media from that triggered place, defending a certain point of view, politicals, sending memes. They're triggered by a meme, which then that whole flood of chemicals that you just talked about gets triggered. Any side of the spectrum of any topic, people on both sides are getting triggered in this way and flooded. I think sometimes people forget that you can use social media and you don't have to let it use you.
And really, they're just words that you're interpreting. There's no body language, there's no tone of voice, there's no even precursor of what created that meme. So you
Yeah.
don't have all the information. You just have like a moment in time. The person put this thought on this picture or whatever, and it doesn't even necessarily mean they always think that way. It's just a moment in time that's been displayed for the world to react to.
You think about it, we've only had social media for about 10 years. It didn't even exist
Yeah.
10 years ago.
I wonder if it's purpose in evolution. Like, we think the internet is really to connect us all. Well, we have connected with more people, certainly, than we would have, in the horse and buggy days.
Well, that's how I met you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we have these juicy, delicious conversations. I mean, how many people do you only know on Facebook? You'll maybe like their post or make a comment. I mean, perhaps the gift of social media is to really change the relationship we're having with ourselves and explore what's inside ourselves in a very kind of illusionary way of thinking we're having a conversation.
Like you're saying, it's like a mirror and it shows you who you are.
Yeah, or aspects. Like, I mean, we're so much more than like Facebook posts, but just little parts of ourselves that we maybe wouldn't have seen had it not been for social media, which is really just a relationship with you and your computer, right? And your mind.
So true.
And
It's a gateway portal to this other experience, and it can vary depending on the day, the mood. I have felt very blessed that I have connected with you in this way. And there are other people I've met on Facebook that are healers, and I've had phone calls with them. And I don't talk to them that often, that I just feel in resonance with, and I've met them like face to face through this technology, and I marvel at that, because if that were not true, I would feel very, very isolated. So I think there's this, if anything, so my computer is showing me it in a mirror, it's reflecting to me that I have community wherever I go, like true community.
it's like who you are radiates out, and you do attract people.
Yeah.
And when they can be your soul equivalent, I don't know if soul group,
Resonance.
yeah, just spirits that or souls that are on kind of that same tangent with you. And not only just to commune, but to actually help everyone evolve and to make their thoughts more concrete and their structures of how they serve and what they believe and what gifts they come here to share. I mean, it is a real gift. So I certainly don't mean to say that that's the only thing that computers do is mirror your inner world. But I do find when you're typing, when you're not having an actual conversation with someone, it's more you than that other person. If you're doing a video call, you are connecting with that person through their voice, through body language, through the vibrations of their being, much more so than if you're just posting a comment on their meme.
Oh
Memes
my
are great.
gosh.
Oh, I love memes. I
Yeah.
make memes all the time, but I make memes that are more spiritually based. I think we all need a little bit of lightness in our life these days.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you want to get informed of future episodes, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel and like our Facebook page, and feel free to leave a comment. We love to hear from you. And so we'll see you next time.